Before each and every season, it is always fun to speculate what could happen around the NBA, but not every single prediction or take is exactly considered to be a common one. These are 5 bold predictions for the upcoming 2021 through 2022 NBA season. Up first is Paul George of the Los Angeles Clippers wins the 2022 NBA MVP. Many would say this is far-fetched, but is it really when you think about it in a broader sense? Well, going into the season, PJ13 will be the sole superstar on the Clippers roster due to the absence of former 2-time Finals MVP Kawhi Leonard, who will miss most, if not all, of the upcoming regular season due to a partial ACL tear. We already know Paul George is capable of being in that conversation, as in 2019 he finished 3rd in MVP voting behind Giannis Antetokounmpo and James Harden. If he can return to that same form, in which he averaged 28 points, 8.2 rebounds, 4.1 assists, and 2.2 steals per game, while also leading the Clippers to a top 4 seed in the Western Conference, then he most certainly has a realistic shot to win the award. After his collapse in the bubble, many questioned his abilities, but during the 2021 playoff run, he proved the doubters wrong, showed that he can still be that guy going forward. Paul will be forced to take on a lot of the offensive load without another star next to him that will average a guaranteed 20-plus points per night. It'll take a team effort to make up the rest of these points, but it starts with PG, and he will be the difference maker for the Clippers this season. Paul George will be on a man on a mission this upcoming season, so don't be too surprised to see him potentially walk away with the MVP award this year. Up next is the Miami Heat make a return to the Eastern Conference Finals and potentially find their way back in the NBA Finals next year. In the bubble, the 5-seeded Heat shocked the world and ran through the East to make it to the NBA Finals for the first time since 2014. Jimmy Butler showed that Heat culture is real as he completely changed the narrative surrounding himself, proving to the whole league that he is a leader. Less than a year later, they went home early after being swept in the first round by the eventual champion Milwaukee Bucks. But this offseason, they spent a lot of money and reformulated the roster to try to make a return to the promised land. They brought in NBA champions Kyle Lowry, PJ Tucker, and Markieff Morris to provide leadership, championship DNA, and defensive power. They also re-signed one of the NBA's top shooters in Duncan Robinson, gave Jimmy Butler a max contract extension. The Heat are looking to win right now, and they have a gritty roster with the ability to do so. They aren't the best team in the East. The roster that they assembled is built for playoff basketball, and they stand a real chance to make a return to at the very least at the Eastern Conference Finals next season. At number 3, the Minnesota Timberwolves see massive improvement and qualify for the play-in tournament and sneak into the playoffs as the 8th seed. Based on what we've seen these past few seasons, this one might seem like a reach, but with their young trio of Towns, Russell, and Edwards, this team has a bright future ahead of them. But who's to say the future is not right now? I'm not saying that they'll be anywhere near contenders for a championship, but everyone in Minnesota would be happy with a playoff berth at this point. The T-Wolves showed massive signs of improvement down the stretch of this past season, and as long as they can stay healthy, they could definitely be in the running for the 8th seed. They have 3 great players to build around, and I think this team has a chance to shock the league this season and sneak into the playoffs in the stacked Western Conference. The Timberwolves have had 1 playoff appearance in the past 17 years, and even though the roster looks quite different than it did in 2018, when they last appeared in the postseason, they have a team that is eager to play in the playoffs, so don't fully rule out the Minnesota Timberwolves as a playoff team this season, as they just might surprise a lot of people. Coming up at number 4 is the New Orleans Pelicans take a step back and are one of the worst teams in the league and end up with a top 5 pick in the 2022 draft. During this offseason, the Pelicans seem to have gotten worse and lost depth that they had this past season. But on the plus side, they got younger, but they shedded cap space to try to make a run at Kyle Lowry and Chris Paul and ended up with neither. They did not match Lonzo Ball's deal from the Bulls and traded for Devontae Graham, who is a solid player, but is still a downgrade from Lonzo. The Pelicans aren't exactly expected to be a great team this season, but I believe that they will be a bottom-tier team in the league this year, because of them not making many improvements to an already flawed roster. The franchise is building around Zion Williamson and Brandon Ingram, and they might end up with another top draft choice alongside them next season if they are not good at all. The Pelicans will have some decisions to make going forward, as it appears that they don't exactly have a direction at the moment. They seem to be trading away future assets to try to win right now, but they are in no position to do so at this point in time. They'll have their 3rd head coach in the past 3 years as they continue their search for the right guy to lead their team into the future. But there is a chance that this is actually hurting the team, at least in the short term, as they don't have an opportunity to grow as a roster and a coaching staff. Long story short, the Pelicans could most certainly be a bad team next season, and the direction of the franchise is currently in question. And finally, coming in at number 5 is Dennis Schroder has a bounce-back season and earns himself an opportunity to reacquire some of the money he turned down during last season. I'm not saying he's going to turn into one of the top guards in the league, but if he can return to his old form as one of the best sixth men in the league, or as an above-average starter, then he will at the very least have the chance to set himself up for life financially. Schroder's entering the season with a chip on his shoulder. The Celtics got him at a steal of a price of just $5.9 million for this year, and recency bias is making people forget that he is still a very solid NBA player. Dennis has a chance to redefine his career in Boston, and I would not be the slightest bit surprised to see him get his scoring average back up into the high teens on solid efficiency, as he will be putting everything he has into this next season with the goal of earning himself a long-term deal next summer. He definitely won't get himself another 4-year, $84 million deal, but depending on how he plays this year, he could definitely see a deal closer to the 4-year, $60 million range if he takes care of business in Boston. The NBA community is currently sleeping on Dennis Schroder, but I for one would not be at all surprised to see him have a massive comeback this season with redemption on his mind. And that is my list of 5 bold takes for the upcoming 2022 season. Let me know any takes that you might have down in the comment section below. Just to be clear, I'm not predicting that any of these will happen. I'm just saying not to be too surprised if they do. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, make sure you smash that like button and hit that subscribe button to see more content from me. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Have a great day. Thanks for stopping by. Enjoy yourselves. Peace.